Hello everyone, welcome to Deepika Makeup. Hope you all are doing super awesome. Today's video is one of the most requested video in the recent times. It is the essential makeup brushes and their usage. So I'm going to talk about brushes that I have in my kit, in my everyday kit on a regular basis. These are the brushes that I have on top of my vanity every single day, and I travel with these brushes. I don't really switch out my brushes. These are the brushes that I've been using for the last 1.5 years. So these are my must-haves personally. I'm going to talk about the shape of the brushes, and I'm also going to give information on what brands and what kind of brushes these are. But if you don't have these brushes available, you just have to look for the specific shape that I'm going to talk about. So let's begin with this video. So first things first, I feel like a sponge is a must-have if you're working with any cream or a liquid products, and I always like to work with wet sponges. I never work with dry sponges. My personal favorite is by Real Techniques, but look for any sponge which is very squishy and smooth and not very hard on the skin. So the first ones we're going to talk about is foundation brushes. So my personal favorite foundation brushes are these two. This is the Sigma F84. It's an angled kabuki brush, and it actually works very well even with going under my eyes and also in the corners of my nose, and it's very fluffy and thick and works with most of my foundations. Whether it's water based or oily based, these two foundation brushes will work for me. Another foundation brush I regularly use is this. This actually came in a set of 13 I got off of eBay or something, and this works really well. Look for bamboo handle brushes on eBay or Amazon. You might still find this set. I also have a concealer brush that I use from this set, so check out if you're interested. And for the longest time for foundations, we have used a flat brush, but I feel like flat brushes do work, but only if they are this fluffy and dense. This brush works with a lot of my foundations, and I really like it. The only thing is it doesn't really go into the corners of my nose, but it works even for a concealer, and it does cover a lot of area. But unlike this one, this actually does my foundation very quickly, while this gives a lot of coverage and it takes a little more effort to blend my foundation. The next ones I have here are concealer brushes, and this is only the shape of brush that works for me for concealers. I've tried many. I've tried angle, I've tried the small concealer brush that comes in sets, but this is what that worked for me. And this again, it comes in this set. Love it. It's very dense and it's rounded, so it works very well. These brushes are not streaky and also blends the concealer very flawlessly. Personally, for me, the best way to blend a concealer is with a wet sponge or with your ring finger. But if these two are not your options, then this brush will work, and this personally is my favorite. It's by Sephora. It's number 57. Moving on to a powder brush, this is very simple. I randomly pick a lot of powder brushes, but this stands to be my favorite. This is by EcoTools. Something very fluffy, synthetic, which does not pick up too much powder out of your pan, works the best. For me personally, I don't really like too much coverage with powders. I like to go very light-handed. So this brush picks up a very little amount of product, and it's very soft. It's very dense, and I just lightly dust powder on my face. I don't really go for a lot of coverage. And with powders, always look for something very big and fluffy and soft. Moving on to blushes, my personal favorite is this Tot Blush Brush. I know this is a very unusual brush shape for blushes, but by far this is the shape that has worked for me the best. Now with brushes, I want to tell you that each person's taste of brushes is different. Each person's way of applying makeup is different. So look for brushes that actually work for you. These are the brushes that have been working for me for years, and these are the only brushes I have been using for the last 1.5 years. So that's the reason I'm recommending these. So this is the blush brush that I use. Usually blush brushes are more fluffy, but I personally feel like with those brushes I don't really have control on where I'm placing my blush. With this, even though this brush shape is flat, this is not dense. This is kind of flimsy, so it doesn't pick up too much amount of blush, and also I have control on where I'm placing my brush, and then I just drag it and blend it up. It blends the powder product very effortlessly. And yeah, this is by Tarte. I feel like the trick to this brush is that it is not too dense, and that's the reason it has been working very well for blushes. The next one I have here is a highlighter brush. So for highlighter brushes, look for something very tapered and small, because you want your highlighter to be exactly where it's supposed to be. You don't want highlighter all over your face. So I like to use this Anastasia highlighter brush. This is A23, and that is the shape of it. It's flat, it's pinched, and it has a little bit of fluffiness at the tip. So I take a little bit of product and I work with this area on the tip of my nose. It perfectly fits in the center of my eyebrows and also fits perfectly on top of my cheekbones. I also run this on my cupid's bow and chin. This is the highlighter brush that worked the best for me so far for highlighters. And also another brush that I really like is something that is tapered at the tip. Even that works very well because you have the tip and you can work with the tip to place your highlighter. Moving on, if you are into contouring, these are the brushes you would like. So for contouring, look for something that are very pinched and also dense. So these are the brushes I use for the most part. This is by Sonia Kashuk, and I just take this. Works even for cream contouring and also powder contouring. So I take a little bit of product on the brush and I just place it and I just blend it. This is a perfect contouring brush. It just fits into the hollows of my cheekbone. It places the contour, and also it's very dense enough that you can easily blend the product. And the next one I have here is a very cheap version. You get these brushes all the time in powders, blushes, bronzers. Just save this kind of brush, and this works so well for contouring. So just this doesn't really work for cream contours, but it works very well for powder contours, and it's nice and dense. So look for such brushes in your makeup products and save these. The next one I have here is for nose contouring. I wasn't very big on nose contouring, and I used to randomly use any eyeshadow brush for nose contouring. Something like this blending brush I used to use for nose contouring and highlighting. But this brush actually completely changed that game, and this is by Crown, and this is C523. It's a smaller version to this brush, and it perfectly contours the sides of my nose, and I even apply cream highlighter on top of my nose. This is the brush for nose contouring. And the last face brush I'm going to talk about is for bronzing. And personally for me, I don't like bronzer all on my face. So I like to use a small brush like this, and I just apply the bronzer only to the outer parts. I don't go more than half or 1 inch into my face with bronzer. But if you're into bronzing up your face and getting that sun-kissed glow, just go for a bigger brush with this shape and just go all over your face, and that works. But the shape of the brush, this is the shape that works for me for bronzer, and this is by Delium Tools. It's number 945. Alright, so moving on to eye brushes. If you are into doing very simple eye makeup, the first brush that I would recommend using is this brush, and this brush is by Real Techniques. It's number 203, and this is the shape of the brush, MAC 217 has. It's very popular. So this brush is like a flat brush, and also it has a very fluffy tip. So this can be used as a flat shader brush to pack on color all over your eyelid, and also you can use the tip of it to blend. So this is a multi-purpose brush. You can use it both for packing and also blending the color. So I would say the first eye brush that you want to pick up is this is Real Techniques number 203, or if you're into MAC brushes, MAC 217 is it. And the next one I have here is a basic flat shader brush, and this is Sigma E55. Every brand that makes good eye brushes will have this shape, and just pick up something which is nice and flat, so you can pick up a lot of product and it's easy to place all over your eyelid. So these are the only two brushes I feel like you need if you're into basic eye makeup. But another brush, if you want to add some color at the outer corner, you can still do it with this brush, but I personally like a brush like this. It's a small blending brush, so you can actually pick up the color, put it at the outer corner, blend it into the crease, and you can also use this to blend any transition color. So this is again a small blending brush. This is by Sephora number 230. So this is the third brush if you want to add to your collection. And couple of other brushes that I recommend adding to your eye makeup brushes. These are not essential, but these are good to have if you want to go for a little more defined eye makeup. The first one I have here is a pencil brush, and this is great to smudge any eyeshadow on your lower lash line. You can also place your inner corner highlighter, and also you can wing out your eyeliner with this. If you have small eyes, you can add this combo. This is a small shader brush. This is a smaller version to this one. As you can see, this is by Delium Tools. This is 772, and the pencil brush is by Makeup Geek. If you have small eyes or hooded eyes, this combination works very well for you. And the last eye brush that is nice to have is a large shader brush, and this is something you wanna use to highlight your brow bone or to just neutralize your pigmentation on your eyelid. Just add powder all over your eyelid. This is the brush I like to use, and this is just an additional brush to have in your collection. And finally, for brows, these are the only two essential brow brushes you will need. One is a very fine tip angle brush, and this is great to do pomade brow products, or even for powder brow products. This works great. And also a spoolie to blend the product and comb your eyebrow hair. So these are all the essential makeup brushes I have in my collection every single time. I have 4 other nice to have brushes in my collection. This is the Sigma E40. This is a large blender brush. I use this to place highlighter, brow bone highlighter, or just blend any transition color. Another one I have here is by Cosette. It's S165. It's a large tapered brush, and I use this to apply my highlighter again. I use this to blend any eyeshadow, and I also use this sometimes to blend my contour as well. And the next brush I have here is by Smith Cosmetics in number 220. This is a very unique brush. It's a smaller version to the nose contour brush, and I personally like to use this to place highlighter right under my brow bone. I also use this to smudge my lower lash line, sometimes my crease color. I also do this for my nose contouring. So this is again a very unique brush I have in my collection. And the last one I have here is by Delium Tools. It's number 783. It's the tapered blending brush. Again, a very defined brush to place color in the outer corner and crease. So that wraps up this video. I hope you got some information from this video. If you have any questions, do leave them in the comments below. And also, if you enjoyed this video and found this video helpful, do not forget to hit on the thumbs up button, and also do subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on my social media. I'm Deepika Makeup everywhere. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye.